T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Movies and Beyond Live. Usually I come on by myself, but today I have a special guest, a good friend that's going to help me rank the Halloween movies. Now, ranking the Halloween movies is definitely not an easy task, and I didn't want to do it right after Halloween Ends dropped. So I figured I'd give it like a month or so. Let everybody watch Halloween Ends multiple times, maybe. For me, it was twice, I think, and just kind of not give a so fresh perspective of it. So I'm gonna bring in my good friend Matt from Mad Matt's Mask, who's gonna help me rank these Halloween movies today. So what's going on, sir? Welcome to the show.
Michael, thank you so much for having me, buddy. Stoked to be here, man. Stoked to be here. Um, just recently started watching a lot of the stuff that you do. I love it. And Halloween's my thing, man. So, yeah, super excited to be here, buddy.
I couldn't think of a better person that shares the most opposite perspectives than my friend Matt here. So I wanted to definitely give uh, not the same old Halloween reaction. Like you could go on YouTube and you can watch the carbon copies. Well, I think that this is, the worst. This is the best. And you could pretty much figure it out. And I guarantee you, my friends, that me and this gentleman do not see very eye to eye on Halloween. But ultimately, that's what
Or
you
Friday
like.
the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah.
Well, we can get to those later, Matt. Definitely, because I'm sure that this will not be the last time that we are doing a stream together ranking these videos. But one of the things that I
Right.
definitely wanted to get a point across, and Matt, you and I talked about this backstage, was regardless of what your top, 13 Halloween movies are, you could take 10 people. You could have all 10 of them give you a list of what Halloween movies in what order, and you're going to get 10 different lists. So there is no right and there is no wrong. This isn't a debate.
No.
This is basically us saying, these are the Halloween movies that I think are the best in the order that I think that they are the best. And I'm not trying to tell anyone, no, you're wrong, or being told that I'm wrong for liking what I like.
No, man, you like what you like, period.
Definitely.
If you don't stick with that, you're lost.
And I think that that's something that's kind of lost on fans these days, because a lot of times that they want to debate it. You know what I mean? Like they want to sit there and tell people that they're wrong or tell people that they don't know what they're talking about. And I think that that makes people lose focus on, what horror is all about. How many sequels do we have to Halloween? We're talking about 13 movies here, and that's me leaving out the producer's cut of part 6. So technically there could be 14 movies. But just a little heads up, I'm definitely not going to include that in our ranking today, but I will be including Halloween 3, which a lot of people
Well,
don't
just gonna
always
have.
do.
Okay. It's
Yes,
just
I
gonna.
will. I will definitely be including Halloween 3. It was at the beginning, I was thinking like
It is Halloween, man. It is.
it is a Halloween, it
I
may not
mean,
have Michael Myers in it, but it technically is a Halloween. So we're going to throw it into the mix. Although that logic kind of does counterbalance what I was saying about the producer's cut but
no.
of Halloween 6, but we're going to go ahead and forget about that. That's not important right now.
Anyway, yeah.
But I definitely, before we get started, I want to definitely give people time, to get into the stream and everything and to come about. And I wanted to let Matt talk a little bit about what he does, because I think what Matt does is super awesome. So I wanted to give him a little bit of time to talk about his shop and what they do over there.
Well, Michael, I appreciate that. So my real name is Matthew Stevens, but I'm currently Mad Matt. That's who I am. I opened a booth at Traders World in Monroe, Ohio, and I wanted to. My vision for the booth was I wanted a booth. I wanted a horror shop that would have been something I would have absolutely loved to have around when I was, 16, 17. Um, to bring, I want to bring horror to as many people as I possibly can. I started collecting horror. I want to say I'm pretty new to collecting, but I've been collecting for about 3 years now, and I just absolutely love it, man. I've got a basement now full of horror memorabilia, and I have everything from figures to statues, to pictures that are some signed, some not. And I just absolutely fell in love with it. So I wanted to share that love I have for horror, and that's why I opened the booth at Traders World. It's called Mad Matt's Mask. You can come there, and I mean, we absolutely have a little bit of everything. I got a lot of custom stuff in there, so I know that as far as like Trick or Treat Studios mask, NECA horror figures, you can pretty much get those anywhere. So I wanted to kind of take it a notch above all that, and so I've got custom collector's bust in there. I've got a lot of rehauled Michael Myers masks coming in. I go to every convention. We've got tons of signed horror merchandise. But what makes it so great is just all the people, all the amazing horror people that we have met. When I say we, my amazing parents are pretty much my business partners as well. Teresa and Terry, you'll see them in there as well. And to share that, the love I have for horror with my mom and my father has been just, I mean, literally a dream come true. And the smile on people's faces when they get that piece, when they leave with that, whatever it is they might be looking for, that amazing Freddy Krueger mask or the bust of Frankenstein, whatever it might be. But when they are just, over the moon about it, and that's what I love about it, man. I want to spread the love of horror, and I just want to be involved in the horror community. They are some of the best people, the most like real, legit, down to earth people ever, and that's what my booth's all about, man. Just spreading the love of horror, and I want to find whatever it is that you're out there looking for. I want to help put it in your collection. So I won't go on any further, but thanks for giving me that opportunity, Michael. And again, we're Mad Matt's Mask. We're in Monroe, Ohio, at Traders World in Building 1A, and I have no doubt you can find something there you'll love. So, yeah.
And I'll definitely include all of Matt's information. I'll put it below the video, so as people are watching this video, they'll be able to get in touch with you if they want to. Maybe they're looking for something. And I've known that you've been known to ship things places, because definitely, this is a wide range of people who watch the show from pretty much all over the world. So,
Absolutely.
So yeah, definitely Matt's the guy to get it from. I have a few masks back here that I've gotten from Matt as well as not only is his shop being, having cool stuff, but it's also a cool place to go and to talk to horror people. Not to just, talk about everything that you talked about, but I just want to reiterate on the fact on how great horror fans are. See, I come from a background of horror and Star Wars can be a very toxic fan base, very argumentative,
about it.
and it's definitely rough. But you think about, what horror is, how brutal horror can be, that these are the best people. It's kind of funny in a way, but at the same time, I just want to reiterate what Matt was saying. But yeah, great place. Definitely check it out for sure. What we're gonna do now, though, is we're gonna get started on the Halloween rankings. That's why everybody came here to talk about Halloween. I'm gonna go ahead and roll the intro, and as soon as I do, we'll get back and get started.
Here we go.
I prayed that he would burn in hell, but in my heart, I knew that hell would not have him.
You are all my children now.
Then I will avenge his death.
Hello, Sydney. Are you
Don't you
The Force will be with you. Always.
I wish I had you all alone, just the two of us.
All right, we are back. Yes, the video intro might be a little bit long, but I like it, so I think I'm gonna keep it like that.
I
So,
dig it.
yeah, definitely. I wanted to definitely give a shout out. Katie from Popping the Popcorn is here. She's gonna mod for us tonight. So if anybody decides that they want to get out of line on the chat, you will have to talk to Katie, and she will definitely take care of that. And I want to thank Katie again for being here to do this. Great friend who also has a great channel called Popping the Popcorn, where she goes over a lot of movies, and just recently did a double feature. She did a double feature on her channel where she was talking about two movies in one stream, which was definitely different, but I enjoyed it because there were two movies that were total opposite sides of the spectrum, and it was a little kind of something for everyone. So I really like that. And I want to say what's up to Justin. Justin showing up to watch our stream. How you doing, Justin?
Justin, my boy. I got to say hello to Justin as well. Justin, how are you, my friend?
Katie's loving the intro. I appreciate it, Katie. We have Teresa Stevens here as well, loving the intro. So cool. Well done. Thank you, Teresa.
That's my mother. That's Mad Matt's mom right there.
Hey, how you doing? All right, so let's go ahead and get started, Matt. I am going to pull up my notes because I take notes on things like these because I don't have the brain capacity to remember everything off the top of my head, like numbers, like how many Halloween movies are there? Okay, it looks like number 13.
Well, wouldn't have anything to do with ADD, would it?
I have no idea what you're talking about, my friend. I have
Alrighty.
no idea what that is.
Fair enough.
If I get up and just walk away while you're talking, I apologize now.
Gotcha.
All right, so number 13, and Matt, with you being a guest, I'm gonna let you have the first ranking. We are gonna go with your number 13 Halloween movie.
Well, this will be no surprise to you, Michael. Number 13 is Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends.
Halloween
And you want me
Ends.
to go in on about why?
Give me a little bit of background on why Halloween Ends is your number 13, sir.
No problem. Halloween Ends is, I mean, I think you said this the other day. Even when it's brought up, I become a shell of myself. Michael Myers is my boy. He is my boy, and he's brutal. He's an absolute badass, and he was none of that in Halloween Ends. He was none of that. He showed weakness for the first time. Halloween Kills ended us with this amazing, just amazing Laurie Strode that was almost Sarah Connor like in a way, just out for blood, and she was an absolute badass. And I think she begins in Halloween Ends baking cookies, and she's taken on, she wants to celebrate Halloween and forgive and forget. And her daughter had just got brutally murdered by Michael Myers. I mean, what other reason do you need to go out, bloodthirsty for the son of a bitch? Excuse my language. But yeah, and yeah, Michael was weak. There's just nothing I like about that film. It was the worst way Michael could have possibly went out. I told a lot of people this, but by the time Michael was in Laurie Strode's home, where I should have had goosebumps and been, just off the couch, excited, I didn't even care. Movie did that. That's all I've got. I won't go any further, but yeah, 13 is Halloween Ends. It's trash.
And I'll tell you what,
My opinion.
I was, definitely. I was down in Scarefest, Matt. You were down there. And I took that opportunity to talk to people. When you're at these conventions, you're waiting in line a lot, so I just brought it upon myself to talk to people about Halloween Ends. And the crazy thing about it was split right down the middle. People either loved it or they hated it, and I couldn't. It's funny that way. You know what I mean? Like it's funny. Some people just love Halloween, no matter what it is. And that's their thing. And then some people were saying that they wanted something different than the same old, same old. But, I tend to lean more on the side with you on that, Matt, to where, when I watch, Halloween, Michael Myers is my Batman. He's my John Wick. You know what I mean? He's the reason I'm watching this movie. And it all but took him out of it. And, just again, not really for me. But unfortunately, that is not my number 13. I'm going with the classic last place Halloween and sticking with Halloween Resurrection. In my opinion, this movie is still, and I say, and still, like we're in the UFC or something, and still the worst Halloween movie of all time. And I mean, I really don't even know where to begin with it, for the simple fact that
you got plenty of ammo.
Yeah, you kill off Laurie Strode in a movie that Jamie Lee Curtis doesn't even look like she wants to be there. We could get into the whole Busta Rhymes, and his kung fu abilities. We can look at the fact that he kicked Michael out the window. We can look at the fact that the way he killed Michael at the end was he electrocuted his nuts. It was just it was a shit show. Like I don't have anything good to say about this movie other than the fact that it wasn't the worst mask in the franchise. I'm not saying it was good. I'm not saying it was good by any means. I'm just saying it's not the worst. So unless you have anything else to add for Halloween Resurrection, but I'm sure you will when we get to that on your list. Let's go ahead with number 12, my friend. What are you thinking about number 12?
Number 12 has to go to Halloween 3.
Halloween 3. Okay.
Has to go to Halloween 3. That movie pisses me off as much today as it did when I was 7 years old, or however old I was. I probably had to have my mom rent it for me. Rented that film thinking Michael was in it, which I'm sure I'm not alone on this. Watched it for a little while, like, what the hell's going on? Hit the fast forward button for a little while, thinking surely Michael's gonna, pop up. And then get all the way to the end. There's no Michael. I just was totally pissed off as a kid. And to be honest, I think for probably 10 years or so, I had no idea what the movie was even about. I had just read it, looking for Michael, no Michael, and I just, threw it off to the side. And then when I finally did watch it, and I knew Michael wasn't in it, right? So I'm a little bit older, and I watch it, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch it for the movie that it is. I know Michael's not there. Let's just see if it's a good, horror flick. And for me, it didn't even give me that. I'm a slasher fan. I like my Leatherface, my Freddy's and all that stuff. There's no brute guy going around killing people. It's just about masks that these kids wear, and their faces melt, and I just couldn't get to it. I couldn't get into it by any means. I know it's got a big cult following, and I think that's great for the people that do enjoy it. But just does nothing for me. Absolutely nothing. And then again, you gotta. For me, I don't like to be upset, but I almost have to stay upset that they, why would they do that? Make a Halloween 3 with no Michael, and that's what makes Halloween.
Right.
Do I have to tell them that? No. Makes no sense to me. So that's going to be number 12.
I think with their way of thinking was, I believe, now anyone in the chat can correct me if I'm mistaken. This is just what I've always thought. I think that it fell in with John Carpenter's original vision of what he wanted Halloween to be. It was going to be a series of stories that came out like every year on Halloween, and none of them were going to have anything to do with the other. And I think that he wanted to try that, and that was, the way that they would get the people back that they wanted back. And it just never, it just never worked out the way they wanted to, because a lot of people, going to the theater felt the way you felt. I felt that way as a kid, but I do have to ask you one question about it. When you were fast forwarding through it, did you at least hit play when they had the Halloween commercial in that bar? So Michael did make a brief appearance where on the TV. They were like, Halloween, the movie. Check it out.
No, I know what you're talking about, but I don't even recall seeing it, so I'm sure I fast forwarded right through it.
But yeah. All right. So my number 12, getting to my number 12, we're going to go with, I am going to go with, not we, I can't speak for anyone else. We're going to go with Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Unicorns, Michael talking, Hobo Myers. It would be my last place if it wasn't for the Halloween dream sequence, the little 20-minute dream sequence at the beginning when they're in the hospital and Michael kind of beasts out, and you're like, whoa, man, this movie is really starting off. It's really starting off intense. This is going to be great. And then what we ended up getting after, was just a total disappointment. Halloween 2, it's back and forth between 12 and 13 with Halloween 2 and Resurrection for me. But I think in permanence, if I had to say that this was going to be my permanent spot for it, it would be number 12, just because of that 20-minute dream sequence at the beginning being as cool as it was. but that's again my opinion. You know what I mean? But that's just me.
Now,
All right, let's.
if I can say one thing about that, I mean, we'll get into my, my Halloween, Rob Zombies 2 later. But he had a few good moments to shine in there. I also like the van. I like when they howl and him busting out of the van and doing his thing there. I thought that was pretty good. And that was early on as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just once it started going down, it definitely went down. So yeah.
Now I will say this though. This is no disrespect to Scout or Danielle. They did fantastic.
They did.
They did great, but excuse me, you cannot put the blame on the actors or actresses, 99% of the time, because they're only following the script that is given to them.
Correct.
And I mean, if you can really look back, if I'm not mistaken, again, chat, you can clear this up if I'm mistaken. But I'm pretty sure that Rob Zombie didn't even want to make a Halloween 2. And I feel like he just, pooped on a tray and was like, here you go. I did it. This is for you. And that's the way I feel, for my number 12 being Halloween 2.
And right there, if a director doesn't want to do it, I mean, let's face it, 9 times out of 10, it's going to come out shit.
Oh, so, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, give me number 11. What you got?
All right. So, 11, I'm going with Resurrection. Resurrection's god awful. But it's not as bad as 3 because at least I can see some Michael. I think I've told you this before as well. The beginning scene with him in the not a hospital, but is it a sane asylum or whatever, where Lori is and all that?
Yeah.
I really do dig that scene. So it kind of goes back to what you're saying about Rob Zombies 2. I watched that scene and I got this feeling like, okay, they're onto something here. And same as what you were saying, once that goes down, it goes down. Yeah. Halloween meets Big Brother camera, reality show bullshit. I have no idea what they were thinking. Buster Rhymes pulling karate moves on Michael Myers is just what the,
well, let's not forget that he punked him out at one point too. He was in the Michael costume and walked out, and he said, "You get your ass out of here," or something along those lines. And Michael left. Come on, guys. Come on. We can do better than that. We can do better, right?
I remember when that movie was coming out, and it's one of my favorite things. I mean, of all time in my life, when a new Halloween movie comes out, and I'm all over it. I go to the theater, I do my thing. So when that was coming out, I was absolutely, I was stoked for it to come out, and went to the theater. And I mean, to say it was a disappointment is an understatement, but yeah. So that comes in as number 11 for me.
Hey, no arguments there from me, sir. Definitely. If I'm gonna go with my number 11, Halloween 5. Number 11 for me is definitely Halloween 5, and I don't even really know where to begin with this. And this movie was probably one of the most disappointing movies for me, because 4 was so good. To me, 4 was great. It was the one that brought Michael back. You had that. You had Michael was back. Like he was burned up. You had Danielle Harris. You have essentially the same cast. You have the same cast, and you don't know what to do with them. This is definitely a classic. Well, Halloween 4 did so good. Let's rush out Halloween 5 so we can capitalize and make some money. And at the end of the day, you don't give any lines to Danielle Harris for the first 3/4 of the movie. She's not talking.
Do you know if it was rushed? I'm just a question.
Oh yeah, it was definitely rushed. It came out the following year. Yeah, it was definitely rushed. You killed off Rachel, who in my opinion was a fantastic final girl. Rachel from part 4. Forgive me, I don't remember her name, the actress's name. But she was fantastic. That whole chase. It was very Laurie Strode-ish, in my mind. And I thought that Rachel was fantastic. And you're gonna kill her off in the most least memorable ways at the beginning of the movie.
Well, they had to let Tina shine somehow.
Oh, okay. Yeah, God, thank God Tina got a chance to shine, right? I mean, she's immortalized as Halloween. But not only that, the mask immediately took me out of the movie. You Michael gets shot down into a hole, right? They blow up the hole and he comes out of there with a different mask on floating down the creek.
That mask has grown on me over the years. It has. But
I can't, I've tried and then let's not forget to leave out the part where Michael cries and his eye is magically healed. You know what I mean? Like he has the perfect eye with the single tear coming down his face as he takes the mask off with no more burn wounds or anything, and he takes his mask off and cries. Now, I don't know what everyone else's opinion is of the shape. The shape does not cry. The shape does not cry. That's what I say. And so that's just a few of the reasons that I have to put Halloween 5 as my number 11. But moving on. Moving on to number 10, Matt. What do you have for number 10, sir?
5. I got 5. And I don't have to say a whole lot more. I mean, you nailed it with 5. Michael cries. Michael should not be crying. Tina is gotta be the most annoying female in horror history. I mean, she'll give anybody a run for their money. That's for damn sure. The mask, it has grown on me, and it's not number 13 or 12 because it's another one I can watch 5 anytime. By no means is it a great film. So I don't hate it, but yeah, for all the reasons you said, yeah, I'm gonna go with Halloween 5. Yeah, but I like I said, I kind of dig the mask lately, and matter of fact, if anybody out there knows a good rehauled Halloween 5 they can hook me up with, I'm in the market for one. So yeah, they call it the Nicolas Cage, I believe now.
It kind of resembles Nicolas Cage. It does, but it also kind of resembles a little bit of Data from Star Trek for me. So at least they kind of kept that Star Trek theme going on. But I do want to take a quick second here to say hi to Val. Val showed up, and I just wanted to take a few minutes to say hello to Val. Val is awesome. I see Val a lot in some of the other channels that I hang out in, and I want to say thanks to Val for stopping by for sure. All right, so I guess I gotta give a number 10 now at this point.
We gotta move past 5. We gotta move past that track.
Number 10 for me, I'm going with Rob Zombie's Halloween 1. And there are a lot of people that love Rob Zombie's Halloween. You know what I mean? So I feel like I definitely have to give reason for putting Rob Zombie Halloween at number 10.
Michael. You do.
Well, here's what I'm going to do. Okay. I'm going to talk about why I don't particularly like Rob Zombie's Halloween. And it has nothing to do, again, with Scout. I think that Tyler Mane did a great job. I think Danielle Harris. I mean, God, Danielle Harris is freaking awesome. But I feel like Rob Zombie's Halloween is a great slasher movie. I think it does a lot of things right in that aspect, but I don't think that it is a good Halloween movie. I don't feel like again, this is what I see Halloween as. Definitely not what everyone else sees Halloween as, but what I see Halloween as is Michael being it's unexplained why the shape does what he does. You know, and it's unexplainable. Like you can't like you have no idea why how this kid with his upbringing, you know, turns into this serial killer with no emotions, you know, no rhyme, no reason, you know, you can't make sense out of what he does. And looking at that, you know, the first 5 minutes, well, we'll say first 10 minutes of Rob Zombie's Halloween, you're like, oh yeah, I can totally see how that happened. You know what I mean? Like you go into his house, you see his front yard is destroyed. You go in and you see their home life. You know, you have a mother's, you know, the mother's boyfriend is just terrible to everyone. You know, he's
Phenomenal.
screaming and yelling the whole time. You know, his sister is well, she's not very proper. We'll say that. And Michael's in his room killing animals. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, I could totally see how that happened. You know, that is serial killer 101. You know, if you were to look up in a book, like, oh, why the hell did he do this? Oh, yeah, I can see that happening at this point. And I think for me, the way that I see Michael is mystery. I think that that's one of the things that separates Michael from Jason, separates Michael
The
from
only way you
Freddy.
want to ever see Michael.
Yes,
I
yes.
get
It like again, you know, it's the blackest eyes, like Loomis said. You know, there's really no rhyme, no reason. He's just standing there. He's looking at the wall. He's looking past the wall. You know, there's nothing there. But through Rob Zombie's vision, I just didn't. My vision of Halloween just didn't mesh well with what he was trying to do. But then again, I do say, if you were to take Rob Zombie's Halloween out of the Halloween franchise and put a different mask on him and call him Bob Myers, I think that that movie is 10 times better than what it is as a Halloween movie. What do you have for your number 10, sir?
All right. Still trying to get past everything you just said, but I'm going to do my
Oh,
best.
I understand. You can let it marinate for a minute. I can talk about something else. You need to sit there and
So
work that out.
I gotta move forward here. 10 for me is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And reasons for that is I love Rob Zombie's Halloween 1. I'll talk about that a little bit later. So I guess I was expecting some pretty big things from his Halloween 2. I was shocked that he was doing it, so I was pretty excited. It was not expected, and if you ask me, he just dropped the ball. He dropped the ball, like you said earlier. The hospital dream sequence was absolutely phenomenal. I
Yeah.
mean, I actually hold that, as far as Michael scenes goes, that's probably my top 5.
It was
It's
brutal,
great.
man. It was brutal.
It was, and his look in that scene. Let's not forget that. Not just the scene alone, but his look. That mask is actually my favorite mask. The Rob Zombie 2 dream sequence, and but after that, like I told you, like I said earlier, I like the crash, him busting out of the coroner's van and all that stuff. But it just got weird. One big thing I could not stand is that is what he turned Loomis into in that film. Loomis, I mean, if you don't love Loomis, I don't know if you can really say you're a Halloween fan, because Loomis is just, I mean, he's just inches behind Michael. I mean, I love him that much. And they made him a total dick. He was a total dick. He
was.
And I just still don't know his angle on that. But I had a hard time getting past that. He's, ordering the girls to go get his coffee, sizzling hot, and flirting with he was just a total scumbag. And same thing with not that Lori was, scum or anything, but I don't think he did her character right, as well. And he just dropped the ball on it. He dropped the ball on it. There's some good kills. There's some really good kills. Um, I love the kill out in the field with the hillbillies and stuff. But I mean, Loomis really killed it for me, and the whole Lori, she just took a whole different form. She was this um, came from a great family, and I'm sorry, not a great family, but she had it, you know, as far as afterwards, she had it together, and she completely just fell apart, and I just couldn't get into it.
I think the angle he was really going for with Laurie's character, and that was the PTSD from the first one. And I think that they kind of just overshot it, and it became something else. Definitely glad that you brought up Loomis, because I totally missed that when I was talking about Halloween 2. And I agree with you 100% on that. I absolutely love Loomis, the character of Loomis.
Absolutely.
And I'm pretty sure that, a lot of Halloween fans um, do as well.
And I'm sorry, but what I was saying, she has a good foster family. Her
Right.
adopted
Yeah.
family was
Yeah.
amazing. That's what I was trying to say. They were amazing. She was, doing her thing. She was a good girl, and then she's just like this, I mean, absolutely lost. Which I mean, maybe he was trying to go that route because of what she had been through and the trauma and stuff. But I don't know. I would have liked to have seen Lori be a little stronger, and I couldn't get into the Hobo Myers, and just like you said, the unicorn, constantly seeing Michael Cena's mother, and it was just a little weird. It was a little weird for me.
Yeah, it
So,
was definitely that.
but
Well,
for me,
Matt,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, this should make you happy. My number 9 should make you happy. So,
Okay.
with my number 9, I am going with Halloween Ends, aka Corey's Story. I am definitely going with Halloween Ends for my number 9. I have talked extensively about Halloween Ends, not only on my channel but on other channels as well. And the last time I talked about Halloween Ends, I said it was going to be the last time that I talked about Halloween Ends. Well, I'm about to make a liar out of myself, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this movie on why I think that it is number 9 on my list, for the simple fact that, again, we watch these movies to see. We watch these movies to see Michael. You know what I mean? And again, with Michael
I'm gonna
being,
take a real quick break, and I'll be right back.
yeah, go ahead, man. With Michael being the superhero of the film that I went to see, we didn't get Michael. We got a whole nother story. We got a story about a character that was introduced way too late into this franchise. And they tried to make it work. It was the final movie of a trilogy, and you tried to introduce a new story with a new main character. And I just feel like they totally dropped the ball. And Matt spoke a little bit earlier about, by the time they got to the Michael versus Laurie, I really don't know if anyone even cared at that point. Well, I can't speak for everyone. I just talk about myself. I really didn't care. And when we did get it, it was very short. It was, God, I can't even think of the word for what it was. It was a letdown for me. I think that whole back and forth, this movie was built. And anyone, I'm on Instagram and I'm constantly looking through my feeds, and that was just, video after video after video about Halloween Ends coming out, was pitting Michael versus Laurie for the final time. And we ended up getting like 4 minutes at the end. We ended up getting nothing like what was promised to us through all the ads leading up to it. It was just so dissatisfying. And then for Michael to be killed the way he was, it's, God, it was just so frustrating for me. And I'm not really going to go too far into detail. And, I'm going to get worked up again, because I get worked up every time I talk about this. But when Corey beats up Michael and steals his mask, that is like the ultimate slap in the face to a fantastic character that I have watched, at this point my whole life. I was born in 78. You know what I mean? These movies have been a part of, my existence since I was born. And to see my guy go out like that was just not only disappointing, but I actually think I saw red for a few minutes. Like might have to go back and watch that movie again to see what the next 5 minutes of that movie were about, because I really don't think I could see past that. Like, how could you take a character that was played so well by James Hugh Courtney and just, slap the fans in the face? And I know that that's not everyone's opinion, but it's mine. I don't like to see him weak, and for him to just get throttled like that and his mask stolen and run off with is just, God. It was just frustrating. It was beyond belief. But that is really all I have to say about Halloween Ends. Matt, it would have just made you mad if you were sitting here hearing what I had to say. It was just absolutely horrible. But I am ready to go on to your number 8, sir.
Who? See, now is why I think when it starts getting interesting. And like you and I talked earlier, my 1, 2, and then my least favorites, they're pretty much set in stone. But you start getting in the middle there, and like we said, it can change monthly. I got to go with Halloween Kills.
Halloween Kills, number 8.
And now we're at the point where I really can't say I dislike. I can't, those words can't come in my mouth. I like Halloween Kills. I do. And it has some absolute brutal kills. I mean, everybody knows that. Michael's on a rampage. To me, that's part of what makes Ends so baffling. Like, where did that go? I mean, where did that go? And Kills, to me, was really close to being a few notches up as well. One thing, the drawn out hospital scene where they're chasing Danny DeVito through the hospital was just a little, it was drawn out, to say the least. It was weird. Evil Dies Tonight. Tommy Doyle, I wanted to kill him myself, with Huckleberry. He just drove me up the wall. So it had its flaws, but it had its moments. It absolutely had its moments. And I think you've said this, the whole Michael walking out the fire scene. I mean, take a picture of that. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. It had some really good, scenes in there. The end scene I thought was great. Michael taking the beating and then just getting up and saying, "Hey, okay, it's my turn." But there were just a few things that just, threw it off for me. But I like it. I can watch it anytime. I'm a fan of Halloween Kills, but that's where it ranks for me, brother.
Definitely. Yeah. And I mean, I'll get to Halloween Kills when I get to Halloween Kills. My number 8, though, is going to be Halloween 3. If you would have asked me a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, where I would put Halloween 3, I probably would have put it maybe number 11 or so. But I hate to jump on bandwagons because it's not something I do.
For this, we haven't talked much about Halloween 3, so I'm excited.
Right.
To what you say.
So here's what I think about Halloween 3. Halloween 3 to me it's different. And I don't mean to state the obvious here. It is different, and I can see the appeal to it. Now, I don't say that I love it. I'm not a huge fan. I'm not, I don't have a Halloween 3 poster or anything, but I can see the appeal to it. And
what is it?
I would rather watch that than Halloween Ends. I would rather watch that than Rob Zombie's Halloween. I would rather watch that than Resurrection. I would rather watch that than, anything else on the list before that. And when I'm making this list, it's more of, what would I like to watch, more than, this next thing. Granted, at the end of the day, I don't think it's good. Like, everyone, granted, there's a huge following at this point to where they're like, Halloween
Huge.
3 is
It's impressed
yeah,
me.
it is. And like anything else, it is. I don't hate it. Okay. I don't hate it like I used to. Um, but at the same time, it's not something that I would want to watch all the time. It's not something that I'm just like, oh yes, Halloween 3 is on. It's more like, Halloween 3 is on. There's nothing else on. I'll watch it. You know what I mean? Like that's how I feel about Halloween. Now, my friends in the chat, you know who you are, who really like Halloween 3 are probably happy to hear me say that because I have preached against Halloween 3 so much. But I think that it's one of those things after you watched it time and time again, and I can thank people who have watch parties for that. It's your fault. That I can stand this movie. That it doesn't make me want to immediately change the channel. It's like, oh, this part's coming up and this part's pretty decent. It's not terrible. And that's I know that's a horrible way to talk about why you rank something. It's not horrible, but that's definitely what I'm gonna go with for number 8. When we do this again next year
Not
before
horrible.
Halloween, because we will be doing this, I'm curious to see which direction that movie goes, because I'm sure that it'll probably move. We'll have to definitely pay it close attention and rewatch this video before we do our video next time. All right, Matt, let's do number 7. What do you got as your number 7 Halloween movie?
Halloween 4.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That was just I wasn't ready for that one. All right. All right, go
I
ahead.
know you really like.
You have the floor, sir. The floor is yours.
I know you really like Halloween 4, Michael, and I do too, man. I do too. Hell, I'd like to say I wouldn't be on here if I didn't like the Halloween movies, man.
Oh, definitely.
Just doesn't mean I like all of them, and I like Halloween 4. I do it, and I'm with you as far as part 5. Like 4 was so good that you were expecting 5 to at least be, in the ballpark, and it was not. But 4, I'll tell you one thing too. I want to give props out to Danielle Harris for part 4. That was her debut. And I think to this day, it's still one of the best performances I've seen from Danielle Harris. She was phenomenal in that film. And there's a lot of things actually that you've said to me recently that I do agree with. Now, the mask in 4 is absolute ass. It sucks. Now, and you said, I remember you saying if you could watch 4, put, well, hell, any mask on him other than that one, but say
Put
you
the
put
original, dude.
1978 mask on,
Yeah.
put
Put
the
the
original,
78 on there.
and rewatch that film. My God, for both of us, it might go up a notch or two on our list. But it's a solid film. There's some good kills in there, and like I said, Danielle Harris's performance is great. Michael's great in there. You get plenty of Michael in that film, and to me, it's just all around a solid Halloween film. The atmosphere is great, also in part 4, and I do give a film a lot for just being atmospheric, and especially when it comes to Halloween. Like if you don't feel like you're in Halloween, if you don't see some pumpkins on the porch and some leaves that are orange and purple, man, it's not Halloween. So you gotta set the tone right, and they did that in part 4. I'm not thrilled about the ending. Just Michael going out with some gunshots. It never. But then again, everything leading up to that, him getting on the truck, ripping the guy's throat out, and that was all some pretty great stuff as well. So, yeah, all around solid film for me. I like Halloween 4.
I think my favorite scene in 4, and I won't talk too much about it because I'm gonna have to talk about Halloween 4 myself, was when he sat up next to the bed and the lightning struck and it lit up the room, and he looked over. And I mean, I know that this has probably been said on, other channels and other streams, but it just hits me so hard. Could you imagine if that was the 78 mask under that lightning where he looks over with those black eyes? I
It
mean,
would
that,
be iconic.
oh my God, dude, that would have been a poster. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that would have been in every promotion for Halloween 4. And it would have just been a classic. Like you would look back at that and say, holy shit, that was, visually, that was just, I mean, I hate to use this language, but that was Michael Myers as fuck, man. Like seriously, he sits
What
up
do you think of
at
the shoulder
7.
pads? Were the shoulder pads a little over the top? A little, too noticeable, a little too Frankenstein.
Just a little bit, you're standing there like this, it is a little rough, but
I agree.
let me go ahead and get to my number 7 for the simple fact that I actually have to talk about Halloween 4 as well. My number 7 is going to be The Curse of Michael Myers, or Halloween 6. And we're not talking about the producer's cut. We are talking about the theater release of this movie. But I do want to say this movie, and you talked a little bit about atmosphere, right? Talked a little bit about atmosphere when you were talking about Halloween 4. I want to say the same thing about this movie. This movie had tons of atmosphere. Like it felt like Halloween. One thing that we did not bring up when we talked about Halloween 5 was the mansion that all of a sudden the Myers house became. You know what I mean? Like it was a giant mansion all of a sudden. Well, this house was a little bit more believable in Halloween 6 to say, it doesn't look just like the Myers house, but yeah, okay, I can buy that. That's the Myers house. I think.
How do
the
they not
thing-
get that right? The Myers house is pretty simple to get right.
It was like a box with some windows. You know what I mean? That was the Myers house. And somehow in 5, it was a Victorian mansion. Yeah. But Halloween 6, it brought that atmosphere. It felt like Halloween when I was watching it. Michael was brutal. He was a little, I'm not trying to shame him, but he was a little out of shape for Michael Myers. You know what I mean? But he felt like Michael Myers. The only thing, was some of the things that got me with that was you don't bring Danielle Harris back. You get basically a fill-in, and then you kill her off. Again, the same thing with part 5 with Rachel. You kill her off in a way that's so disrespectful to the character of Jamie Lloyd. Disrespectful they didn't bring her back. And would I have even wanted them to bring Danielle Harris back if they were just going to kill her in the first 5 minutes of the movie? That's the thing that keeps that. And I'm not a big fan of the Thorn. I'm more of a purist when it comes to Michael Myers, more of a, we don't know why he does what he does. And now, you're telling me that he's part of this group, that, yeah, and Michael doesn't belong to groups. Michael doesn't have friends. And yeah, he's not controlled by anyone. That's freaking crazy to me. But the things that I did like about Halloween 6 were great. And the things that I did not like about Halloween 6, I just really can't forgive them for it. Speaking of 6, what do you have for number 6, sir?
Is that what we're on, number 6?
We are on number 6, and I am following a list. See, that's why I got lists.
Oh.
H2O, wow.
With H2O. Man, I'm actually starting to get into, I'm really starting to like these Halloween films now. I can watch Halloween H2O anytime. I want to try to dive into, because I like I said, I'm really starting to like these Halloween films. Like, what do I dislike about H2O? I like the mask in H2O. I don't love it, but I like it.
Okay.
Atmosphere.
That's not because you sell masks, is it?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Just checking. Just had to make
Not
sure.
at all. Mad. I always keep it real, man. I always keep it real. Now, atmosphere-wise, decent. The kills are decent. Um, I don't know what else to say. The end's good. I like Jamie Lee Curtis in the film. I really don't know. I like H2O. I do. I enjoy it.
I am actually going to say that my number 6 is also H2O, so we could talk a
Okay.
little bit more. Yeah, we got the same one. We finally got the same
Well,
one here.
help me out. I'm at a loss for words about H2O. Like,
So the things
I
that I
like,
did
I
like
know
about
there's
H
reasons why I don't love it, but I just
yeah.
can't think. Off the,
So the
yeah.
reasons my H2O for me is definitely more of a love than a hate. There are things that I didn't like about H2O, but I will talk about the things that I liked first. Let's be a little more positive here, because we are getting into the Halloween movies that I'm really starting to like. Halloween H2O. If you look at anything talking about Halloween H2O, it was a very clean film compared to the others. It kind of had that
It was
that
clean.
that late 90s feel to it. Everything was really clean. You had Josh Hartnett. His character was a little whiny, but I guess, again, that goes back to the writing and the director. It was very Scream-esque. You know what I mean? Like that movie looked a lot like a Scream movie, even though it was a Halloween movie. And I know that there were people.
Imagine H2O if Rob Zombie could have put a tad of his touch in there. Like, yeah. But just say it. Go on. I'm sorry. Dirty.
Yeah,
Dirty it up.
But yeah, it was very clean film. It was very Scream-esque. I do not have an issue with the way that Michael died. And I didn't want to bring this up when I was talking about Resurrection, but I felt like H2O for that timeline had a good ending. You know what I mean? With Laurie finally killing Michael in that way. I didn't have any issue with Michael dying in that way compared to when you talk about Halloween Ends, where he was just, not it didn't really matter, by that time. But when you get into like Halloween H2O, there was the fight leading up to it. There was the suspense. When she had,
Matter when you're watching H2O. You were like,
yeah,
this is their final confrontation. It was
right,
awesome.
man. I mean, they sent her, she sent her kid off with with his girlfriend, and she broke that damn box, so he couldn't get out. It's like
But I got
it almost makes me think of the movie The Watchmen, where he's in prison and he's like, I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. Like that was the attitude. That was that Laurie Strode that it had enough. That was that Laurie Strode that said, "Give me this fucking axe. I'm here to fight." You know what I mean? That's what she was doing.
That was a badass scene.
Yeah, man. Like she was ready to throw down, and they did. They went back and forth, through so much, and then she cuts his head off at the ambulance, at the end. And when that was over, I was just like, okay, I'm all right with that. You know what I mean? Like I know that they're gonna bring him back somehow, because it's Halloween and they're gonna make money off of this, but I'm okay with that ending to end that timeline. And then you have to bring in Resurrection to follow that up, where it's just like, come on, guys, what are we doing here? But yeah, so my number 6 as well, H2O. We got one the same, Matt, and that's freaking fantastic.
And I gotta say one thing too, Michael. It's just something I never thought about before, but think about that. And there's a lot of people out there that hate on H2O, but as far as the Laurie and Michael confrontation, H2O's compared to Halloween Ends is night and day. Night and day.
Yeah, I mean they're not even the same. I may only have them separated by like 3 ranks, but they're not even in the same ballpark.
Yeah, by the time,
to be honest,
they were fighting in Halloween Ends, I literally could care less. And I remember now H2O, man, I was on the edge of my seat when they were going at it. And yeah, I just had to say that. I never thought about that before, but yeah. All right, what's next? 5?
We are on number 5, sir.
You're gonna hate me, brother.
All right.
I still love you. Halloween 2018.
Oh, but see, that's not bad.
No?
I
Okay.
mean, when you get to a number 5 ranking, dude, you're saying that these are the top 5 out of now, if you said Halloween 2018 is number 13, I'd be like, what are you doing?
We have a
Where are we
problem.
at here?
Yeah, it's gonna be 2018. It's in my opinion, it's just a very solid film, and now even thinking about it, this is gonna be the last time I bring up Halloween Ends. I promise you. But it's even more baffling of how the same director that did 2018 put out Halloween Ends. It's baffling because 2018 was phenomenal. I like the cast. I love the atmosphere. I absolutely loved Laurie Strode in that. She was, she was out for blood. She was absolutely out for blood. She was not all there. She was gone. She was solely focused on Myers. I love the introduction of Allison. What's her boyfriend's name? Is it Cameron?
Yeah.
Is that right? I like Cameron. Love the cast. The only thing, and I believe you and I have talked about this. The only thing, if you would wipe this out, it might be number 1 for me. I'm not sure. I thought they did go a little over the top with Laurie Strode and her 17 locks on the door. Her, 40 years later after an incident, she's got, push button and steel doors go down all her rooms. I thought it was a little over the top. The whole teaching her daughter how to fight and all that. I thought I liked where they went with her, but I think they took it a little too far. I do believe you and I have talked about that. I thought they took it almost like a little corny. But aside from that, even from the opening scene, say something and the music hits. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Michael stills are awesome. The end is awesome. The fire, so yeah, a great film. Great film. There's only that one thing I can criticize where I think they went a little over the top with, but it's
And
minor.
you have to remember too, when Halloween 2018 came out, we hadn't had a Halloween movie in about almost a decade. Like it was not like 9 years, if I'm not mistaken. And the last thing we got was Michael watching his dead mother ride unicorns. So
Correct.
when I went to the theater to see 18, I actually went to the theater with one of my friends who liked to talk during movies, and I literally got up and walked to the other side and sat down just because I was so invested, in this movie. But just right away, we talked before a little bit about atmosphere, and I don't want to go on too much about Halloween 2018 because I'll be talking about that as well. But it had it, man. Like when he was like, say something, and them credits hit hard. And I mean, that theme song to me hit
That
the
was-
hardest it's ever hit in
That was
any
great.
Halloween movie. I was like, we're back, baby. Like, this is it. This is Halloween. I was just freaking off through the roof when I went to see it. But I will get to that when I get to Halloween 2018 because my number 5, we're not there yet. Number 5 for me is Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills to me had the most vicious, epic Michael Myers out of all the movies, in my opinion. He was no bullshit. Like he had a direction to go and he was just going to clear a path all the way there. And it started with the firefighters. It started with that scene of him coming out of that burning house. That was the first time that we saw Michael in this movie, and he just came out in full beast mode. He reminded me a lot of my guy right here when he came out of that house. You know what I mean? Like
I can
there
see
was
that.
no, hey, I'll go out the back door. No, you put me in a burning house and tried to burn me. I'm going to destroy everything, but I'm going to go home.
First time
You
you
know,
compare him to Jason. I'm with you.
It's-
That scene reminded me of Jason as well.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he cut a guy in half with his own saw. That's classic Jason Voorhees right there. You know what I mean? But yeah, he came out vicious. The storyline, as you were talking about, like the evil dies tonight, it did get repetitive, which I would love to do a stream one night. Maybe I'll do it on Patreon when I get my Patreon set up, because I don't know how YouTube is, but I would love to do a watch party with Halloween Kills. And I want to make it into a drinking game to where we take a drink every time they say evil dies tonight. And let's see how we're doing by the end of that movie. But anyway, yes, that got very repetitive, and some of the dialogue was a little cringy. But at the same time, there were a lot of good things in that movie. And I think that Michael and Halloween Kills was top tier. The mask to me, this is probably my favorite mask out of all of them. And I know that that's blasphemy to some people who are just like, no, I love the 78 mask. The original's the best. Look, you've got an aged 78 with half of it burn off, and Michael's having a bad day and he's pissed. Okay. To me, that is untouchable in best mask for me. I'm sorry. Halloween Kills is the best mask to me. And to see him coming out of that fire. When I met James Jude Courtney at that convention last September, I thought of all the things I wanted to say to this guy, and out of my mouth came, let's talk about the fire scene from Kills. That's all I really felt about talking to that guy about was, and he was just happy to talk about it, man. And he said that when he was filming that was actually him coming out of the burning shit. He said they had 3 different fire suits on him, and he said he had to have his eyes closed under the mask because the smoke was getting in his eyes and he couldn't see, and he was sweating like crazy. And I said, dude, you could not tell, because that was probably the most epic Michael Myers scene I'd ever seen in my life, and still is to this point.
And speaking of that, let's not forget to give a big ass shout out to James Jude Courtney.
Oh yeah,
Michael Myers is my most beloved character of all time, and we, as I say that as Michael fans, we could not ask, in my opinion, we could not ask for a better man to put on that mask and have played him. I've met him a couple times, and he is just the nicest man you'll ever meet. And I'm sorry, but he walks just like, it's like you're looking at Nick Castle walking in 1978. But yeah, I'm serious. He's the nicest man I've ever met at any horror convention. And I could not ask for a better man to have played my hero, Michael Myers. Yeah. So I got to give a huge shout out to James Hugh Courtney. He is phenomenal. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. I can't. I agree with everything that you said, and he was just freaking amazing. Like, I told him when I saw him, I said, thank you for bringing Michael back, because I think Michael's been gone probably realistically, and I hate to say this, since Dick Warlock. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I really, anybody else, I feel like in any of these Halloween movies, and again, my opinion, guys, don't fry me for it, but you could have had anyone under that mask.
You could.
Like they Halloween 4, Halloween 5, Halloween 6. It didn't matter. It really didn't. But James Jude Courtney sticks out so much.
He brought Michael back.
Yeah, dude, he did. And I was lucky enough to be able to tell him that. And he looked at me and he said, thank you. Like he's like, sincerely. That means a lot.
He loves
All right. We are down to number 4, Matt. Number 4 on your list of Halloween movies.
My number 4 is gonna be Halloween 6.
Oh, all right. Curse of Michael Myers.
Yeah. And I know that's not the popular opinion, but I'm a huge fan, man. Huge fan of Halloween 6. Now, I'll say right off the rip, when people think of Halloween 6, what pisses them off right off the rip is the whole Cult of Thorn. And no, I don't like the Cult of Thorn. I'm with you on that. But I guess it doesn't bother me as much, because the atmosphere, the look of Myers in that film, to me, is I mean, it's right up there with, for me, it's right up there with the original 1978. It's up there with the look he portrayed in Rob Zombie's Halloween. I mean, I just think he looked phenomenal. The mask is gorgeous. Him going into the hospital, the strobe lights hitting, him murdering 12, 15, who knows how many people it was, going down the hallway, busting open doors. I love Halloween 6. You know this, Michael. This
Yeah.
is no surprise to you. So I think I attributed a lot to, I think it was a great performance as well. And I hate to say it, but I'm not sure. I don't know the guy's name who played him in part 6, which that's shame on me for having him so high, but not knowing his name. But I think he played a great Michael Myers and looked phenomenal. Atmosphere on top, kills on top. Yeah, I love H6, man. And I can
Yeah.
overlook the whole Cult of Thorn.
Yeah, like I was saying, you know,
It was Donald Pleasant's last performance, man.
yeah.
You know,
And if I'm not mistaken, he passed before that movie even came out. So definitely,
I'm not sure on that either, but I've heard that. Yeah.
yeah, definitely one of the icons, you know, of Halloween. You know, like it's nothing's ever the same without him. You know what I mean? Like I think that David Gordon Green's trilogy did good to try to you know, show that he was part of it by mentioning him multiple times. And, you know, they played that cassette tape where they, you know, did their best to replicate it. And then they had the
But
guy
we
stand in.
lost a part of Halloween.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Absolutely lost
Definitely.
a big part of Halloween. Yeah.
You know, I hate to go backwards, and I don't usually do this, but I feel like neither of us gave a shout out that needed to be shouted out about Halloween Kills. And that was the flashback scene. You know, for some reason, when I started thinking about Loomis, we got that flashback scene. And I'll tell you what, I don't feel like there was anything wrong with that, like whatsoever. Like the mask looked amazing. The kid that was playing Michael looked absolutely amazing. You know,
I think
it was
when it said that, you know, they were going back in 1978. I think I had goosebumps, man.
yeah, and it looked just like it. The house looked great. The cars, you know, even the actors and actresses that were out there, you know, like it just was freaking fantastic, man. And
Down to the
yeah.
kids picking on
Yeah.
yeah, it was great.
But Knight from the Night Watch Zone is going to help us out here and say it was George Wilbur who did 6, and he
I
also
appreciate
did
that.
4 as well.
I
Yeah,
appreciate that. George Wilbur. Okay.
yeah, definitely,
I think
definitely.
great. I think he did great. Absolutely. I'm a 6 fan, man.
Yeah, oh, I know you are. I know you
I'm
are.
a
He,
6.
like I said, he was vicious in 6. You know what I mean? Like he was.
I might put I might put the atmosphere of 6 as number 1. I love where they are. I love the scenes. I dig it. I do.
Definitely a good point. So for my number 4, I like that number. I like that number a lot. I'm gonna go with Halloween 4 for my number 4. Again, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and just repeat everything you said, but I think that you hit the nail on the head with Halloween 4. Danielle Harris, fantastic job. Rachel was a great final girl. You know, you felt when you were watching that movie that you were watching a Halloween movie. The mask didn't bother me as much as the mask from 5, but I still didn't like it as much. You know what I mean? But yeah, like all the scenes that we've already talked about, I'm not going to go into too much more to say the same things over and over. But
Michael,
yeah,
can you
4
tell me how
is
they screwed
definitely
the
my number 4. What's that?
Can you tell me how they screwed the mask up so many times? Like,
I am
seems like it'd
sure
be
that there's a
pretty to get down.
story. I'm sure that there's a story. I've heard many different things about, you know, maybe there were some rights or some issues with Shatner's mask on why they couldn't use it. And then, you know, you hear that, well, the Shatner mask burned up in 2, so, you know, he had to get a different mask. You know, it's the thing that bugged me so much about the masks was from 4 to 5 when he went a whole looking one way and came out looking the other, you know, with a whole different mask on, you know, and it's just, it just took me way out of it. All right, Matt, we're getting down to the top 3 for our Halloween rankings. What do you have for your number 3?
Halloween 2.
Halloween 2.
Halloween 2. I love Halloween 2, and I know that I know John Carpenter he wanted nothing to do with Halloween 2. He said there was no story left after H1. He wanted nothing to do with it, but he did it, and damn it, I'm happy he did. I think it was awesome, and for it to be just a continuation of 1, which I do love, and Dick Warlock knocked it out of the park. We just recently was talking about James Jude Courtney, but let's not forget Dick Warlock by any means. Dick Warlock was a phenomenal Michael Myers. His presence, his demeanor, he just killed it. You have the blood tears scene, which is just phenomenal. Give me Michael Stock in a hospital anytime with Laurie Strode, with Jamie Lee Curtis, doing her thing. I absolutely loved it. To me, it was just giving me more of part 1 because it was a continuation at the same night, and him busting through the glass of the hospital, sitting straight up, the gunshots to the face just to have blood tears, him swinging the scalpel around. I'm all about it. The hot tub scene, let's not forget.
One of the best kills in the franchise.
That's about every 12-year-old boy's favorite scene right there. Let's not lie. It was awesome. It was awesome. But yeah, his performance, the continuation from the Halloween that I absolutely loved. It's probably one of my favorite endings, of all. The fire and then Michael walking out on fire was just that was a badass ending, and
that wasn't a short fire walk either, man.
It was not. No, it was not. You can tell it's a guy in a fire suit, but hell, what the hell is she gonna do? What
Right.
year was that made? 81.
I think 81.
So yeah, that's what you get. It was great. It was great. So,
Well, sticking with our pattern of agreeing with each other, I'm going to have to go ahead and say that my number 3 is Halloween 2 as well. And
all right,
one thing
your reasons why.
that's 2. That's 2 that we've agreed on out of 13. That's freaking fantastic. Halloween 2, let's not forget the fact that Dick Warlock looked freaking fantastic wearing that mask. You know what I mean? Like, I have a big ass head. So if you were to put that same mask on me, it's not going to look the same way that it looks on him. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, that's fantastic.
Can you see that?
Yeah,
That's
I
my-
definitely can.
my favorite
That's
mask
super
in my
slick.
collection.
Look at that. That
Gorgeous.
mask, definitely it's the same mask from, 78. And we all pretty much know the story about, Deborah Hill having it under her bed and being a smoker, changing the color of it. But I mean, that mask looked freaking fantastic. And I agree with you, for Halloween too. Some of the things, there are some things that you could tell that were kind of like rinse and repeat from the first one, where Laurie's trying to get into the hospital and Michael's walking up to her, kind of stealing from the original Halloween where he's walking across the street while she's banging on the door. But that's suspense built, it didn't feel too repetitive to me. But if I was going to pick anything out, it would be, stuff like that. But yeah, I loved Halloween 2. One little thing that makes me laugh every time I see it though is you remember when Michael steals the knife from Mrs. Elrod when she's making the sandwich and leaves a little blood there, and he goes next door to kill that teenage girl.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch that scene very closely, when she's walking through and Michael jumps out to kill her, where the hell's he jumping from? Like, if you really watch that and the camera's facing her, he kind of comes from the floor like he was squatting behind like an armoire or something. You know what I mean? Like, he just
I
freaking
never
jumped
thought
out like,
about that.
ha, and that I laugh every time I see that because it's like, did you run out of hiding places? You know, he just jumps out from the bottom of the screen. It's like, were you laying on the floor, you know, in front of the couch? Where did you where did you come from when you were trying to kill her there?
Real quick. Speaking of, if you watch it real close, why does Lori have absolutely no voice when she's on the ground outside trying to yell to the officers, but as soon as they get inside, she can scream her lungs out? What was that
Yeah.
about? You
It was
remember that?
about it was about building the scene, Matt. That's what it was doing. Yeah, it was, you know, there are things you could pick apart probably any movie that you watch, but yeah,
I love
uh,
it too.
definitely number 3 for me is definitely
Watch it anytime.
Halloween 2. All right, Matt, we are down to number 2, and this is, if people are keeping track, they kind of know what movies we have left. Now the question is what order are they going to be in?
For me, Halloween, my number 2 is the original 1978 Halloween.
Ooh. All right.
Yeah. I absolutely love the film. I love
Yeah.
the film. I love everything about it. I mean, hell, you all know the original Halloween. What can I say? It's got suspense. It introduced us to the most iconic slasher villain of all time, Michael Myers. The cast is great. The atmosphere is great. The closet scene's fantastic. Thinking he's dead, he sits straight up is fantastic. Giving him the needle, the crocheting needle into the neck, and the chase. I love everything about it. It's my number 2. It is my number 2, though.
Ooh. Loomis. You didn't bring up Loomis.
Crazy.
Loomis had the best lines out of any Halloween movie. Oh God.
Oh,
so
yeah.
good.
Yeah. His lines, everything was fantastic. And Michael's look is absolutely sick. I probably prefer that second to one other look, and we just might get to that. But I love Halloween 2, or I'm sorry, Halloween 1. What's your number 2?
You know, I really know what I should say. And it's, my number 2 is Halloween 2018.
Okay.
And obviously, you know, you'll know what my number 1 is by me saying that, but Halloween 2018, the way that I felt when I watched it was just like, finally, Michael's back. Now, when you get to Halloween 2, and this is one of my, you know, issues that I had with Halloween 2, is it was the beginning of a new Michael. You know, the shape ceased to exist once we found out that he was Laurie's brother. All right. He went from being this shape, this mystery, this, you know, this just the shape, you know, to being my crazy ass brother. And then in 4, it was my crazy ass uncle that's trying to kill me. You know, it gave him a motive. It gave him a reason to be doing what he's doing, which goes against why I like the shape so much. You know, it goes against the grain. It goes against what was said in the original. 2018 brings that back. 2018, he's not a brother. He's not a crazy brother. He's this guy that killed X amount of people in 1978. He's this guy that Laurie Strode has been thinking about for the last 40 years because she feels like that he's out to get her. And in all actuality, he doesn't give a shit about her because he has no rhyme. He has no reason. He's the shape again. David Gordon Green, as much as I didn't like what you did with Halloween Ends, I can't thank you enough for Halloween 2018. He brought back the original version of what Michael was supposed to be. He brought back that freaking the shape. Yeah. And I mean, even when they square off at the end, that had nothing to do with Michael. Michael wasn't after her. He was trying to go home. He got brought there. You know, he wasn't after Lori. Sartain brought him there. He wanted to see the showdown. Michael didn't want to see the showdown, or Michael didn't want to partake in the showdown. He was brought there. So again, that goes back to him not being, you know, having any ties to being a crazy older brother, or a part of the Cult of Thorns, or
He's gonna
any.
kill in front of him.
Yeah, yeah. I'm pissed. You hit me with a car. You threw me in the back of the squad car. I don't even care about this girl sitting next to me because you threw me in the back of this car. So I'm going to kick my way out of here and stomp your head in. Well, now these cops are showing up. I got to go this way to go home. Guess what? There's a house here. I'm pissed off still. I might as well kill these people. There's a guy that comes out. I'm going to kill him. Oh, wait a minute. You're that girl. I'm going to kill you too. It didn't have any reason. He didn't have any reason to go after her. She was just there. And he was just there because he was brought there. And to me, that puts me back into what Halloween is to me. It brings back that mystery that made the shape, and not Michael Myers, my crazy ass brother / uncle. And that's why I love Halloween 2018 so much. I mean, that whole trilogy, I loved Halloween Kills, don't get me wrong, but if it ended with him burning in that house, I'd have been okay with that too. Because I think that the way that they locked him in there and he just stood there watching as he was burning. No emotions. There were no emotions.
That was so iconic.
Yeah, dude. He's just standing there looking at them as he burns. And to me, that was just freaking fantastic. And I will always love that movie for that reason. All right. This is it. Number one. I should have put like big ass numbers on the screen that would flash up like number one.
Number one for Mad Matt's gonna have to be Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Shoo-wee.
My reasons for that. Now, make no mistake about it. Am I trying to say that it's a better movie than Halloween 1? I'm really not. The reasons why I put it so high. One, for its rewatch value to me, is just up here. I can watch that movie over and over and over because it's almost like you gave me Halloween again, but with more added to it. I remember when that was coming out, I was stoked because I grew up on Michael. I loved Michael. I never dreamt that I would get an actual remake. And I'm also a metal fan. So to get a remake of my favorite slasher from also one of my favorite metal artists, Rob Zombie, that did it for me. I was over the moon, man. I was ready to rock and roll. And I know the reasons you don't like it as far as, and I get that, we have talked about that, and I get what you say. You like the suspense of Michael. You like the not knowing who the hell is this guy? Why is he here? And Rob Zombie does destroy that. He takes you into, he gives you Michael's backstory. But I was all for it. I'm also a guy, I want to say that for me, a remake doesn't erase the original. So I feel like some people think that, like, I hate this because it's not supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be this way. Well, if you do love your original that much, it's still there. Don't worry. But it gave me Halloween and a little bit more. I thought the kid, as far as going and doing his backstory, the kid was phenomenal as a young Michael. He was phenomenal. So yes, I enjoyed it. Then when he got older and started doing the, his Michael thing, his look was off the charts. Tyler Mane as Michael, standing 6'7", and the mask was ridiculous. That movie has a place in my heart. And hell, I could watch it solely on just how he looks, but also bringing Scout into the mix. Scout as Laurie Strode was absolutely phenomenal. So you've got this kid playing Michael who knocks out of the park. You've got this newcomer. I had not heard of her before. Scout Taylor Compton. She plays Laurie Strode. She knocks it out of the park. Tyler Main as Michael knocks it out of the park. The kills are great. I love the film. Now, there would be no Rob Zombie's Halloween if it was not for John Carpenter's Halloween. So, I'm really not saying it's a better movie, but I give it that number one spot for its rewatch value. As far as, you know, I can watch that anytime. And just a lot of it also is for that. I really can't tell you how excited I was when that came out and how thrilled I was that Rob Zombie, my boy, you know, I was jamming to White Zombie well before he was Rob Zombie with Hillbilly Deluxe and all that. But for him to be doing my favorite slasher, Michael Myers, and giving it a remake was just, it was almost like a dream come true for me. So, and he did not disappoint. He did not disappoint. So for those reasons, I put Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 as my number one.
See that is awesome for the simple fact that, you know, I don't really think that, you know, a lot of people, you know, saw that coming. You know what I mean? Like here's the thing, man. And we talked a little bit about this backstage, and I thought that I was going to bring that up out here. Was there's a difference between liking a movie and it being a good movie. Now, that does not apply to what you're talking about, but I think that a lot of people get that terminology confused. Look at me. I love movies that are bad. You know, look, guys, seriously, okay? I am rocking my Jason X shirt today, okay? Is Jason X a good movie? No, it's terrible. It's a horrible movie, but I love every minute of it. I love every minute of Jason X. From the horrible CGI to Jason appearing places that it makes zero sense whatsoever. And I just sit back and smile every time I watch it. Like, you know what? I love this movie. Now, if someone says, hey, is Jason X a good movie? I'm like, no, God, no, it's terrible. But I love it. You know what I mean? There's a big difference there.
There is
a big difference.
You like it, you like it, brother.
Yeah, and that's true, man. That is definitely true. Now, I think there's no surprise on what my number one is, and I'm definitely gonna have to go with the original. That was the first Halloween movie that I saw as a young, probably way too young to be watching Halloween movie. It set the tone for everything for me.
Michael, was it your first Halloween movie?
Halloween 1,
It was
the original.
I wish it was for me. It was not, but okay.
I was born in 78. I probably saw Halloween 1. I saw Halloween 1 the same day I saw Halloween 2. So I know it was after 81. Probably came to VHS. So it was probably 82, 83. I was lucky enough to have family that was just like, hey, watch whatever you want. Just don't come into our room crying at night. The first time you do, you know, you're done. So even if I was a little kid,
We're going to have to use our credit card to watch it.
Yeah, yeah, and that too. You remember the pay-per-view boxes? Yeah, definitely. Even then, you know, even if I was scared to death, you know, back then I wasn't going to admit that I was, because it meant I couldn't stay up and watch these movies anymore. I mean, I saw Halloween 78, you know, young. I saw Phantasm, the first Phantasm, when I was way too young to see that. And that scared the shit out of me. The tall man throws that coffin in the back of that hearse is still stuck in my head. Now, what I remember watching the movie later on, you know, in life, it looked different from what I remember. From what I saw as a kid, it was just like this dude just picks up a casket by himself, throws it in the back of this hearse, and it's just like, that's the most horrifying thing I've ever seen in my life as a kid. But getting back to the original Halloween and talking about my number one, you know, this movie defines the atmosphere. You know, this was where it all started. The performance, God, Loomis is freaking fantastic. You can quote Loomis. Almost everything he says in this movie is a quote at this point. Like, he is just, I can't quote him. You know, I can't remember things like that well, but I mean, it's just some of the stuff that he's talking about when he's trying to explain what Michael is to the sheriff, you know, what he's seeing, even the deleted scenes that you see at the beginning where he's talking to the board, like, you look, you can't let this fucking guy out. You know, he's lying to you. He's not catatonic. All that stuff with Loomis is just fantastic. And Jamie Lee Curtis, you know, she played the hell out of that role. And even though there are parts of it that are just a little bit like, you could get into the whole totally thing, you know, yeah, that definitely gets repetitive. But at the
I
same
wouldn't
time,
have it
man,
the other way.
it wouldn't be the same without it. You know, Halloween, I made it a thing when I was younger that I'm going to watch Halloween 1 on Halloween every year. And I have since I was younger. Even when I was in the military, I found a way to get it done. It's like, oh, Michael, what are you doing tonight? I'm watching Halloween. You know, like, I watch Halloween every single year. And not to mention the other 20 times throughout the year that I watch it. But I make a point to watch that movie because to me, it set the tone for horror for me. Now, granted, it's not my favorite slasher. It's top 2. But, you know, it set the tone for me to be introduced to things like Jason and Freddy and Chucky and all of those things, man. Like, I was too young to have been a part of watching Psycho, you know, and I know that there was Black Christmas before Halloween, but to me, the godfather of getting me started on the slasher movie is the original Halloween. And to me, it is still leaps and bounds in my mind above the rest. And I don't really know what you would have to do to top that movie for me. I just don't know if it could be done. You can make a movie that was superior to it in every other way possible, and I'm 99% sure that Halloween 1 would still be my favorite out of the Halloween movies. And I mean, if we ranked all the slashers together, it would probably be top 2, top 3. And that is my list. That is Matt's list. I tried to keep up with the chat as much as I could, and we had a lot to get through. I mean, we've been on here for an hour and 45 minutes at this point. I definitely want to thank everyone for coming to our show, especially Matt. Thank you very much for being on my show, dude. And I'm sure that we have a lot more to do when it comes to this stuff.
Absolutely, Michael. And I also want to thank everybody for joining in. But it was my pleasure. It was my pleasure. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And yeah, hopefully you'll have me back for a lot more. But loved it, man. I'll talk horror with you anytime, Michael.
Hell yeah, man.
Anytime.
Definitely. Everyone that showed up, and I definitely want to give a special shout out to Katie from Popping the Popcorn for moderating this for me. I saw the bots popping up, and you were on it, and you got rid of all of them, and I appreciate you so much for helping me out. Again, everyone, I can't thank you enough for showing up to our show today. I had a freaking blast, definitely. And Matt, stick around. Don't exit out. I'll talk to you backstage for a few minutes. And I just want to say thanks again, everyone, for coming.
Got it.